Radio Raheem here with Matthew Macklin. Well, not just a businessman, but a fighter in your own right. And what I love to do with fighters, because you have a unique experience of actually having been in the ring, unlike us professional talkers who you've actually had main events under this hot lights and been under pressure like these guys that surround us on these posters. So if I could, I want to take you through these upcoming fights and get your predictions and why you think who might win. Well, I guess we'll start with the very first one coming up in just a couple of days. Dillian Whyte and Lucas Browne, big puncher, a guy who, in Lucas Browne might surprise some people. What do you think that outcome might be?
Do you know, I think Dillian Whyte's gone from strength to strength. Early on when he fought Anthony Joshua, he was still kind of novice-y enough. He wasn't that experienced. He didn't have the amateur pedigree that some of these guys had, particularly Joshua. But I think he's really improved. You know, his fight with Chisora was that was a tough fight, man, and it was a great fight to watch. But could have gone either way. I thought Dillian Whyte just nicked it. He fought then against Robert Helenius. It was it was a great slot on the Joshua card, a chance to really shine. But unfortunately for Dillian Whyte, it was a lackluster fight in the sense that Helenius didn't really engage. He didn't come to fight. He just wanted to survive. And when someone does that, it's difficult. It's almost impossible to look good. But he got the job done. But this fight now with Lucas Browne's saying all the right things, that he's coming to fight. He can punch. So I think it's going to be a good fight. But I hope Dillian Whyte wins. I think he can win. I think. You
think if Dillian got a shot at Joshua again now, is what the two of them have been through, and assuming that he beats Browne and Joshua beats Parker, you think that rematch would be any different than it was the first time?
No, probably not. I think if anything, what Dillian Whyte's great if he can drag you into a dogfight. He hasn't had the same amateur pedigree or experience. He hasn't had the same schooling. And sometimes you can see that in his. I think he's worked hard on his technical ability in it and his skill set. He has worked hard in it, and you can see improvements definitely. But I think in the first, what he does have, as much as anyone, he has a big heart. He's loads of guts. He's a fighter. He's got tenacity. He's got guts, and he drags you into a dogfight. he can fight with anyone. So. And I think that's what he did with Joshua in the first fight. They had history, there was a lot of talk, and I think Joshua, got into a dogfight with Dillian Whyte. But I think if they had a rematch, I think don't take it so personal, and he used his superior skills and technique. He could win it more easily. I do think Dillian Whyte's improved since that fight, but I think Joshua's also improved since that fight. In the Klitschko fight and all these big fights that he's been in. He's been steadily improving himself. But I think more so than just both guys have improved. But I think Joshua, in the first fight, he came down to Dillian Whyte's level a little bit. Now, like I say, since then, Dillian's improved, but so has Joshua. I think if Joshua fought him again, I don't think he'd let it get so personal.
What did you make of Wilder Ortiz? Did you feel like Wilder became a better fighter that night? Did you feel like you saw some cracks in his armor, maybe that could be exposed? Rate Wilder for me and how you took in that Wilder-Ortiz fight. Yeah,
well, look, I mean, he showed... We've seen that he can be hurt, you know what I mean? But Luis Ortiz is a good fighter. Not too many people want to fight Luis Ortiz, He's a slick southpaw, who can punch, very experienced. So, I thought, all in all, it was a good performance from Wilder. Yeah, he showed vulnerabilities, he got hurt, but he also showed that he's got a big heart and that he recovered and came back. And, he's a massive puncher. He's so dangerous and unorthodox and awkward, and, you know what I mean? He's got this, elasticity to him. He's got freakish power. And he shows he's got guts and he's got heart, and he can be hurt, but he can recover and come back. So I think there was more pluses to the performance than there were negatives. Yeah, vulnerabilities, but you know what? These are big guys that carry a lot of power. They get hit on the chin. They can all get hurt. Dillian Whyte buzzed Anthony Joshua momentarily, didn't he? So and he came back and won the fight. So I don't think that it's a negative that Luis Ortiz hurt Wilder. I think it's a positive that he took it, recovered, and came back and still won the fight.
Does that performance change the way you see the Wilder-Joshua matchup?
No, not really. I think that I think Joshua's the better fighter of the two. He's technically better. He's a more complete fighter, but I think Wilder's very, very dangerous. And I think he showed in the Stavern fight in the first one that he can box for 12 rounds as well. He has amateur pedigree. Also, he was a bronze medalist. So Wilder isn't just a puncher. but he's a big puncher. I mean, that's the thing that jumps out here. You know, Joshua, he's a big puncher, but I think all round he's more complete and more. He's technically a better fighter than Wilder.
We've got some big punchers coming our way in just a couple of months with Triple G and Canelo. Both of these guys hit hard, and at 160, advantages are hard to come by. Now we're looking at a story, a scandal, to see if Canelo has gotten himself an unfair advantage. I'm certain you've heard this story. How did you take it? What do you think about this deal with the tainted meat or the failed drug test?
Well, you'd be lying if you said you didn't raise your eyebrows when you heard about it. You think, oh, you know, especially with what we know in sport and different things. You know, unfortunately, it's out there now, isn't it? People, you know, and then it's also it's a shame because some people, you know, there's certain things that are in ingredients. But the thing is, when you're a sports star now, an athlete, you know you can't even go to the chemist and get a Lemsip for a cold. You know you have to have everything documented. And Canelo, you would imagine, would have known about the contaminated meat in Mexico. So, you know, but then it's also, so you think you do question it, you do get a little bit suspicious, but then you don't want to. It's innocent until proven guilty, and you don't want to say something without any, you know, and it not be authentic or not have any proof. So I don't know, it's disappointing that it's happened. You know, you'd like to think that he'd have whatever he was eating or taking, that he's already well aware that everything has to be kind of covered and documented, like so. But you know, the beef thing, I was never aware of it, but seemingly it is an issue in Mexico. I don't know, but it's a shame that it happened because it does kind of put a grey cloud over things a little bit, doesn't it? Because it's a rematch that I was looking forward to. I am looking forward to it. I don't know if it's going to go ahead, not going to go ahead, but you know, I thought Golovkin won the first fight.
What do you think happens in the second?
I said at the time, I thought Golovkin won the first fight, but I'll probably lean towards Canelo in the second one because I just think that, you know, his belief of him. I think first time he was very respectful and wary of Golovkin, you know, but I think this time he'll think, no, I'm okay. I can live with that. I can take that power. Yeah, I've got to be careful, but you know, I think he'll be busy. I don't think he'll leave it so late to kind of let go, you know, let his hands go. I thought he left it. He finished strong, but Golovkin for me was too far ahead on the cards. Having said that as well, I think Golovkin is slipping. You know, the Jacobs fight, this fight, he's getting. And listen, you could say, well, look, Jacobs and Canelo are the two best guys he fought. Fair enough, you know what I mean. You could argue that, but I also think he's 36. He's been very busy. He's had a lot of hard fights, a lot of hard training camps, and you know we can't go forever. You know what I mean? So I just think that, you know, probably again could go either. It's always they're well matched. Could go either way, but this time I'll probably lean towards Canelo.
Is there a fighter right now that you feel like is ahead of everyone else on your pound-for-pound list? Like, with a little distance, is there one guy that stands out, like, whether or not he's made the accomplishments yet, but like, hey, that guy's the best around?
Lomachenko. He's the Matrix, you know what I mean? He just like waited to Rigondeaux. I know Rigondeaux's older and inactive and that, but you know, he made him quit. And like, I just think, I mean, he's lost one fight and he avenged it as an amateur. He's like a freak. He's probably, you know, Golovkin has that power, and he was like, you know, some people considered him the pound-for-pound fighter, and Andre Ward hasn't lost since he was 12 years old, and he beat Kovalev, and, you know, there's arguments for a few different people, but I think Lomachenko, for just raw talent and absolutely gifted, he's got to be number one.
Radio right here with Matthew Macklin, breaking down the fights. We've got all the good science going, man, as only a fighter can do. Radio right here with Matthew Macklin.